Okay, so we've got to talk about this. Apparently, Donald Trump is turning America into a real life mafia game. If you know the game, basically you have to identify who's in the mafia in your group before they kill you. That's essentially how the game is played. Here, this is the headline. Activists interrupt Sunday church service, say pastor works for ICE. So as you know, the ICE people run around mass, so you don't know exactly who they are. And then people are starting to figure it out. And I think they're saying this guy on the left here, his name is Eastwood, is a member of ICE, and he also pastor at a church. We've got video on this thing. I know it's as wild as it sounds, and there's a protest at the church. Check this out.
David Easterwood is a pastor here. He is also the director of the field office for ICE in St. Paul. So someone who claims to worship God, teaching people in this church about God, is out there overseeing ICE agents. Think about what we've experienced. The murder of Renee Good at the hands of ICE. A Venezuelan national shot by ICE. A 6-month-old baby who almost died as a result of ICE unleashing military-grade weapons on our community. How dare you claim to be a pastor of God and you are involved in evil?
Wow. Okay. So who she's talking to, and I'll show you more in a minute here, because I had to look it for myself. This is the city's church. I think this is the one. It says leadership. There's Jonathan Parnell. So he's the one who's at the church now. You're going to see him in a minute here. And I think they're referring to David Eastwood, who's literally right there. I'm just showing you guys exactly what I see. And then he's also in the picture next to Noam. I think that's the same person. Okay, so let's listen to more. Eastwood's not at this particular time when he's there, when they're protesting, but they are talking to the pastor who is there. So let's watch some more.
In our community.
I think Jesus would be understanding.
We're about worship these folks. We're about spreading the love of Jesus.
But did you try to talk to them?
And that's Don Lemon. He's going to interject. I'll show you a different angle of that. But again, we're talking about the Eastwood here. Also going on, and I just want to set kind of the whole tone of what's happening in Minnesota. Some locals are now bringing out their guns. We saw this in Philadelphia, and I guess they're guarding their neighbor's house. Have a take a look at this.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You live in the neighborhood?
Yep, this is my block. This is my area. I don't go into other people's neighborhoods and try and intimidate them. I protect my people.
Are you giving out your name?
No, I'm okay with that. Our neighborhood's showing up.
You guys had a lot of people out here, right?
At least 30 or more.
Yeah.
40 or 50.
That's pretty good for a quick turnout.
So I just want to be clear on this stuff, and I always say the same thing. I'm not thrilled about like more escalation of violence or guns. I want to make that really clear. Everyone's gonna have a different opinion on this thing. I get what you're doing if you're there protecting your house, your property. I get that. I just don't necessarily want to see everyone armed with like that's just my thoughts on that stuff. But I understand this whole situation is completely whacked out. I don't think I've ever seen protesting in a church like this before. This is where we're at. Let's watch a little bit more.
So you can see the protesters here have gathered over here. They're in the middle of the church. So in the beginning of the church service, the pastor was speaking, and Nikema stood up and said her piece, and then the protesters surrounded her. But this is a clandestine mission. I think they found out according to them, this is according to Operation Pull-Up, that one of the pastors here is a member of ICE.
Here's some more details of that. It says protesters disrupted is the local news, disrupted a St. Paul church service on Sunday after activists determined one of the pastors works as an acting director of ICE's field office in St. Paul. David Easterwood, a pastor at City's Church in St. Paul, is named in a pending class action lawsuit filed by the ACLU on Minnesota for aggressive tactics used by ICE. When activists discovered Easterwood is a local pastor, they mobilized. They said, quote, "This man is a wolf in sheep's clothing, masquerading as a pastor." So I completely understand, guys. I totally understand. I'm just showing you all of it. There's going to be a lot of emotions on several sides of this argument because I get it all around. But basically, my point of view on this stuff is Trump's trying to get us to all fight each other. And that's why I said it's like a real life mafia game. And it's like you got these mass people running around. You're like, oh my God, I figured out who it is. It's David Eastwood. Oh my God, he's a pastor. And it's just, isn't this just whacked out? The whole thing is crazy.
This is the beginning of what's going to happen here. when you violate people's due process, when you pull people off the street, you start dragging them and hurting them and not abiding by the Constitution, when you start doing all of that, people get upset and angry. And if you remember what the Civil Rights Movement was about, the Civil Rights Movement was about these very kinds of protests. There's nothing in the Constitution that tells you what time you can protest. You can protest at any time. That's the whole point.
Yeah, so that's going to be up for debate because people have a right to assemble, people have a right to religion, right? And they have a right to have their church service. Does necessarily other people have a right to come and interrupt said church service, and you get to all issues of that. So I'll just say this: there's going to be a lot of fighting on this particular issue. Okay, I completely understand all the arguments. The one side's like, "Hey, we're just trying to have church here," and I get the other side's like, "Yo, why are you got a pastor that's like participating in ICE activities?" And you got other people like, "Hey, I got guns at my house because I need to protect my neighbors." Like, I get all of this stuff. I'm just like, how can we, lower the temperature is kind of what I want to be talking about. But that's why I said in the beginning, like I say it all the time, Donald Trump basically just wants everyone to fight each other so then he and his billionaire buddies can just laugh at everyone. This shouldn't be about left, right. It should be about top and bottom. If you watch Hunger Games, you watch Squid Games, any of these kind of things, this is what it is. But I understand people are going to be more focused on the left-right fight.
Our church had gathered for worship, which we do every Sunday. And we were interrupted by this group of protesters.
Yeah.
We asked them to leave, and they obviously have not left.
Yeah. What do you think of this?
I mean, this is unacceptable. It's shameful. It's shameful to interrupt a public gathering of Christians in worship.
So, but there were folks who will say,
I have to take care of my flock.
okay, but listen, we live there's a constitution in the First Amendment to freedom of speech and freedom to assemble and protest.
Yeah. We're here to worship. We're here to worship Jesus because that's the hope of these cities. That's the hope of the world is Jesus Christ.
I want to be very respectful. Please don't push me though.
We're here to worship Jesus.
Yes.
That's why we're here.
Yeah.
Okay. That's why we're here.
Okay.
That's what we're about.
Don't you think Jesus would be understanding and love these folks?
We're about spreading the love of Jesus.
But did you try to talk to them as a Christian?
No one is willing to talk.
Okay.
I have to take care of my church and my family, so I asked that you actually would also leave this building.
You don't want us to chronicle what happened?
Unless you're here to worship.
I'm always worship. I'm a Christian.
We're here to worship.
Yeah.
We're here to worship. Okay.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. So that's one of the pastors of the church.
And I don't know how like Lemon knew about this thing, like how you just show up at the church if he was, I really don't know. Other than I just think this whole thing is just completely whacked out. But this is where we're at in USA. And then you have this, there's been more reports about how ICE is figuring out who to arrest people and such regarding the Palantir stuff. Have a take a look at this.
A new investigative report by 404 Media says ICE agents have a new high-tech way to zero in on neighborhoods to raid. The report says it's an app called Elite, and it's developed by Palantir, which is a data analytics company used by federal agencies and state and local governments. Now, the app populates a map with potential targets, pulls up a profile on each individual person, and provides a, quote, confidence score on each person's address.
And I'll tell you the basic gist of it is it's like a Google Maps kind of thing. And essentially they have this technology with the Palantir, and essentially Elon Musk and all those kind of billionaire bros want to get those government contracts so they can basically just track everyone really, really well, supposedly. And then all of your neighborhoods will have different scores of like, oh, we should go arrest these people, circle this one, go there. And I think a lot of people are going to be really uncomfortable with basically Skynet. It's essentially what it is. I'm just showing you guys what, and we've talked about this stuff before, so it's not like we didn't know about these things, just we're finding out more details about what they're up to. And then this is sort of how it plays out in real life. And just notice, guys, it's cold right now. It's all in the snow.
That vehicle right there is honking and impeding our investigations while we're trying to arrest a child sex offender. That's who you guys are protecting. Insane.
I understand.
And it's crazy snow out there. Now, I want to be clear on this one too, okay? So if indeed you're going after like said investor offenders or whatever, fine, have at it. but the ICE people tend to make stuff up. And this is where it becomes a really, really big problem, to where if truth doesn't matter anymore to people, right? Who knows what anyone believes. And I'm just talking about as a reasonable person, because some people say, "Oh, Chris, do you hate the law?" No, I actually do like the law, and I want people in positions that are well trained. I want people that follow the law, and I want this for the law to apply for everyone. So it's kind of odd. You're going to make the case that, hey, we're going after offenders, but why aren't you going after Donald Trump? Like that kind of stuff. I think it's a pretty fair argument to make. And I think anyone, watching would say the same thing. Yes, if someone is indeed some sort of offender, throw the book at them. I got no problem with that. But also due process. Make sure you're not just accusing people of stuff that isn't true. I think all these things are fair to say. And then also, we're doing this like on this crazy blizzard day. It's like blizzard the next 4 days.
I don't have to do it.
I see. People are basically asking for warrants and that kind of stuff, right? That's what they're doing. This is more. So other people are, checking out, is indeed this Easterwood person, does he work for ICE? I guess we have some footage from C-SPAN here.
David Easterwood. I'm the acting field office director for.
It says, David Easterwood, and that was the same. It looks pretty much the same to me. That's why I checked the website for myself, because you just always want to make sure you got it right. So that's the website here, the church I just showed you to, City's Church right there. I can see it for myself. And then even the local news put the dude's picture there. So just make sure we're all on the same page here. I want to talk about reality. Then the person that puts in quote, right, David Easterwood on C-SPAN. And then the local news confirms a couple things. First, they say there's a blizzard warning. It's like in multiple counties. So if you're in the upper Midwest right now, you probably know exactly what I'm talking about. It's like just crazy snow. And then it says Fox 9 can confirm a man named David Easterwood is the acting field office director in Minnesota. And then you have the protest at the church. It's a absolutely bonkers story. And I think whenever you watch whatever outlet that you watch, they'll probably tell some of the story, but not all of the story. And for any of these things, guys, I think we all benefit from the truth, and we all benefit from having an actual real conversation about this stuff, which I'm fine having. And if you're in our community, I think you enjoy having it as well, because I think this is what we need. We need discussion and dialogue on these important topics. So I do appreciate your time, everyone. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the next video.